G'day there guys, it's your main man Markee and welcome back to our newest installment of Am I the A-Hole? If you enjoyed today's content, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn on the barbie, and have a bloody good time. Thank you. Our first post is by user AKL77600913, titled, Am I the A-Hole for spending $600 weekly on my son and not his brothers? So, I'm a single dad with 3 sons. In order, Jack 23, Austin 19, Kevin 16. Kevin has a severe learning disability, low-functioning autism. I look after him at home after he was failed by 3 care homes because there was neglect. The last care home hadn't managed to wash his hair in 4 weeks or give him a shower in 3 weeks, and other problems that were never addressed, and a complicit argument with SC who were awful and nasty. I couldn't let him live like that. Jack and Austin both live at home. They didn't want him to return home, and were being negative towards him. They said since he's back home, they won't be involved in his care. I'm not sure why they want this for their brother to be treated as less than just because of his special needs. I know it's not easy for them, for Kevin and me, but he's their brother. I started looking after him myself. Routine has changed, but I managed it first. I started working from home so I could spend more time with him, but it didn't work. Also because I'm solely taking care of him and everyone else in the house doesn't help with simple tasks. It's just exhausting to be doing everything alone. I decided to hire a paid carer that takes about $600 weekly. Austin and Jack knew about it and they were upset with me, asking me why I was spending that much money on Kevin alone and demanded equality and to be given the same amount of money weekly too. I was stunned when they both lashed out at me for playing favorites and treating Kevin differently, saying he was my spoiled favorite. They started complaining about needing money to fix their phones, new TV, a new dishwasher, etc. I told them that I had no choice since no one wanted to participate in his care, and that they're capable adults who can start earning their own money if they wanted. They said they weren't obligated to take part in his care, so I should stop holding that over their heads, and demanded that I give them the same amount of money weekly. We argued back and forth, and they both took turns to try to guilt me for what I did. They refused to drop it, and other family members got involved. My sister berated me, saying I was being unfair and that their reaction is understandable. They are both 23 to 19. They can move out if they want. They don't pay rent or groceries. The arguments seem to be going nowhere. They've been giving me the silent treatment since then and say that I'm playing favorites. I need to mention that I in no way asked or expected Jack and Austin to be responsible for their brother. I never asked them, so I have no idea why they keep saying I'm trying to get back at them for refusing to help. It's not like that at all. OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the a-hole. I tried to reason with them, and I might be an a-hole for not understanding their feelings and arguing further. I'm going to go purely off of what we've read here and say OP is not the a-hole for this situation. Those two are acting like entitled brats, and we don't have any information further that would indicate why they don't want to look after this sibling. I feel like it's a tricky and intense situation to be stuck in, and I really hope that Kevin gets the help that he needs. It's not right for those two to be demanding $600 each, when that $600 is going to look after Kevin, who obviously needs the help, and they don't want to provide it, and OP still has a job and can't always provide that care. It's a rock and a hard place situation, and I don't think there really is any winning in this one. So for that I have to say not the a-hole. Purple MP12 says, they're adults. Adults living in a home should be helping with cooking, cleaning, etc., regardless of the situation. Even kids should, but adults really should. No, they don't need to help with his care, but they do need to do other household tasks. Kevin is a minor child with special needs. Of course you should spend more money on him. Do they have jobs? How do they come to expect you to support them into adulthood rent-free? I understand the 19-year-old not paying rent, but not the 23-year-olds. No, neither of them have jobs. I've been understanding and didn't want to make them feel as if I'm being controlling and treating them differently from Kevin. But it obviously got out of control. I'm dealing with so much and I really can't take this anymore. Dude, they can get jobs. That's not being controlling. It's making sure they're responsible adults, which they're not right now. It's not like Kevin can even get a job, so they should be thankful they have that ability. I've already talked to them about this. Jack wants to get a job, but it's Austin who keeps demanding things from me and being in Jack's ear about the difference in treatment. It's clear to me that Jack has been affected by what his brother tells him. Gone Baby Thoughts says, "Not the a-hole. You're under a lot of pressure here for many reasons, most of which are outside of your control. It's clear that your other sons see Kevin as a burden, wanting nothing to do with him, but also as a threat from the perspective of your time, money, and attention. I suspect this goes back to their childhood where they always felt like his special needs meant they got less than. I think family therapy is highly in order here. Your sons do not appear to have the emotional maturity to manage themselves properly in this situation, and the last thing you need is more stress. Hoping you're able to sit them down, have an open and productive chat with them, and get the ball moving on seeing someone that can help you navigate this." And OP says, "I've mentioned therapy for them, and Austin laughed, saying there was nothing wrong with them to seek counseling, and that I'm the one being neglectful and playing favorites." Playing favorites with your minor disabled son? Austin sounds like an entitled narcissist. What the hell? How many posts have we seen here where the neurotypical child posts about their parents neglecting them in favor of a special needs child, and are reassured that being neglected just because you are neurotypical is not okay? But here we have the parent's perspective, and suddenly it's fine to focus all the attention on the special needs child. There is a ton that is missing in this post. What is Kevin's behavior like? Does he have constant meltdowns that have disrupted the neurotypical children's lives and education when they were younger? Were they told when they were in school that they couldn't have extracurriculars because Kevin couldn't be brought along or left alone, and disrupting his routine would make him melt down? What is the origin of all this resentment? It didn't come from nowhere, and it doesn't make the neurotypical children entitled narcissists to wish that they'd had the same opportunities their peers had and resent the source of the neglect. The parents who couldn't and wouldn't give the neurotypical children equal time. If Austin had posted here instead of talking about how Kevin has always been their father's 100% focus, and he was put on the back burner and expected to just be okay, without any parental attention, and now he resents his father for this, would your judgment be the same? And Lilu Lei replies, "If he was a minor child, I might give this perspective a lot more credence. As it is, he's a goddamn adult whose father is still financially supporting him. He pays no rent and doesn't kick in for groceries, and he needs to act like it. Demanding his father give him $600 a week because his special needs minor child actually requires paid care for that amount is ridiculous, and I honestly wouldn't accept that bullcrap from a minor child either. Jesus effing Christ." A lot of food for thought on that one, hey? That gives a very good perspective of the situation, and I honestly, kind of thought of it like that, and I didn't think of it like that at the same time. What are your thoughts on this one? Would you put up with it, or what would you do in this situation? Our next post is by user Select Description 35, titled, "Am I the a-hole for excluding my sister / making her feel bad for not donating blood?" So a couple days ago, I got an email about some blood drive going on, and they were asking me to donate. I'm a frequent blood donor, but this time I thought I should ask my family to donate as well. My younger brother and 3 cousins agreed, but my youngest sister, 19 female, said she was scared of needles and didn't want to. I'm scared of needles, even those smaller ones for your finger, but that fear has nothing to do with the fear of dying in my opinion, but cool. Donating has to be something someone wants to do, so I respect her decision and didn't even push it. Went to the drive, donated, then got back. One of my cousins couldn't because of some pills he'd recently taken for a headache, but everyone else did. When we got back, I was hungry and too lazy to make food, so I opted to go to town and grab some burgers or something in town as takeaway, and maybe some other stuff for myself and my brother and cousins as a treat for donating. My sister asked where her invitation was, and I said she could come, but I'm not paying for her. She then got pissy, saying that I was being unfair because I know she couldn't because she's scared. I told her that I have no problem with that, but this was my treat to thank them for donating with me. She brought up my cousin who didn't donate, but he was really enthusiastic and wanted to. Only stopped by the medication, else he would have donated as well, so he's included for trying. She's still giving me the silent treatment, and my mum thinks that I was an a-hole for excluding her and making her feel bad. Am I the a-hole? So we've got two people that can or cannot, or will not donate for two separate reasons. I would say that both are legitimate reasons for not donating blood, although the cousin had absolutely no choice to donate blood there. I think she absolutely knows that there is a difference between the medical problems and her being scared of needles here. And I understand at the same time that both OP and her are both wrong for their decisions on this. She shouldn't be expecting free food from OP for this flaw in logic that she's found, and OP shouldn't be giving free food because of that flaw in logic also. OP is choosing a side, and he's going to die on that hill, and she's trying to push her own agenda in this one as well. I'm just going to go with everyone sucks here. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter, but pointing it out like this, everyone sucks here. And OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the a-hole. They say, I'm conflicted since I paid for my cousin, even though he technically just accompanied us in the end. So by technicality, however, he would literally have filled the form out and was ready to go, so yeah. Aslan Lives On says, everyone sucks here. She was acting a little entitled, but you were treating everyone and purposely excluding her almost as punishment for being scared about donating. You're the a-hole for making her feel bad about not donating. I'm absolutely terrified of needles to the point of nearly passing out from the fear, and I've still given blood. And OP can decide who they spend their money on. If they want to thank their brother and cousins for donating with them, then that's their choice. Sister didn't donate, so she doesn't get the thanks. Username 52 says, you're the a-hole. I'm scared too? You're able to be a frequent donor. I have a friend who would want to give blood, but faints at the sight of a needle. That would mean both not donating blood and causing a way bigger problem for everyone who works there. I went the other day and finally talked my, way older than 19 years old, husband into trying, even though I've been going regularly for years. His temperature was like zero point 0.2 high, and he couldn't give, but I was happy he finally tried. It wasn't like you stopped for burgers on the way home. It was like you were punishing your sister for not giving blood, instead of encouraging her to think about it in the future. Also, you should have people look into the questions before they go. No reason for your cousin to have gone if he took aspirin the day before. The first question is, do you feel healthy today? Your sister can honestly answer no if she's terrified, heart racing, etc., and not be eligible. You're the a-hole. I worked at a blood bank as one of the people who actually take your blood. School drives are the worst due to the peer pressure. I had a person have the worst reaction I've ever seen while I was doing the intake evaluation. Straight up passed out when I did the finger stick. It took hours to get them well enough to move to the facility's on-site nurse. It's a miracle they didn't hit their head on the way down. Oh, and while they were not stable, we couldn't process the usual amount of the potential donors as a bed and a blood bank nurse had to evaluate them frequently. If your sis was scared, bullying her into donating is a disservice. She can be helpful in other ways, organizing another drive, bringing snacks, or just being the person to take you and pick you up. Well, reading further down the comments, it looks like the consensus here is you're the a-hole, and I can definitely see myself swapping to an you're the a-hole agreement for this one. He was being the a-hole in this situation, it does look like, and it just makes sense that it would be counterproductive to get her to even be there to donate blood. It would just waste a lot of people's time, and it wouldn't be fun for anyone. So yeah, I can swap mine to you're the a-hole. Seems like a good idea. Posted by user Triple Troubled Mum. Titled, Am I the a-hole for not wanting to name my children after someone else's stillborn babies? Throwaway because my family uses Reddit, and while they might recognize this, I didn't want it attached to my main account. Also on mobile. My fiancé and I are expecting triplets, and found out they're all boys a month or so ago. His aunt had been pregnant with triplets 5 years ago, 2 boys and a girl. The boys did not survive the entire pregnancy, and she went into early labor. We all felt terrible for her, and most of the family grieved with her. Ever since discovering that I was having triplets, his aunt has been doting on me and telling me all about her triplet pregnancy. It's been overbearing, but I try not to say much because I know it's a sore spot, and she's probably grieving all over again because of my pregnancy, and I do feel a little guilty, even though I haven't done anything, if that makes sense. She's always asking me if I feel movement, and seems worried that I will lose 1 or 2 of them. I have had 3 single pregnancies previously, different father, and my doctor isn't incredibly concerned for my 3 boys, but does caution that multiples comes with risks. Anyway, me and my fiancé have discussed names several times, and still haven't firmly decided on any. His aunt offered us the names of her 2 boys, first and middle. They are from the Lord of the Rings and other books that she's read that I've never heard of. And while I'm a Lord of the Rings fan, I just don't like the names. I just kinda shrugged when she offered and said that I'd think about it, and was hoping she'd drop it. But there has been 3 occasions that she has said something like, "How's little Samwise and Dritz doing? Does their brother have a name yet?" And at one point, we were discussing other names when she walked in. We were at his grandmother's, her mother, and she asked if we weren't using her names, as if we had actually agreed to before. I finally spoke up and told her that I felt she was getting too attached to my unborn babies. Really, I said, no, we don't like those names, and I feel you're attaching yourself to my unborn children way too much. They aren't your lost twins reborn, and you need to stop acting like it. And while I know that was harsh to say to a grieving mother, regardless of how long it's been, I'm going to excuse myself as a grumpy pregnant woman who is generally non-confrontational. We went home shortly after, and while most of the family is indifferent, some have said that I should have spoken to her nicely and not told her I didn't like her son's names. I've also been told that I should apologize, and one person even suggested using just the middle names. I honestly don't even know how to spell them or what book series they're from, but they're ridiculous. So, am I the a-hole? And OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the a-hole. I believe I am the a-hole because I yelled, spoke strongly, at a grieving mother and told her I didn't like her son's names. Look, I can agree with you on that point there. A lot of the times in these decisions, just yelling at someone and hurting their feelings doesn't particularly make you an asshole for doing that. Yes, if you want someone off your back, you can be nice about it, but some people don't take positive reinforcement as a sign to stop doing it. Sometimes people only stop when you negatively reinforce something, and yes, it's an a-hole thing from the outside to negatively reinforce a point, but sometimes that's what you have to do to get someone just to stop, because they won't take a positively reinforcing no as an answer. I can understand people giving this one an everyone sucks here judgment, but I'm going to give this one a not the a-hole judgment, because yeah, he hurt her feelings, and yes, she's grieving. There are good ways and bad ways to go about this one. And I wasn't in the room, but I'm assuming that this situation warranted OP giving this harsh response, saying I'm sorry, but I don't like the names, I understand that you're grieving, it's all good, but please stop. I would sympathize with OP here, saying that it's a spur-of-the-moment thing, and they've got their own demons to handle. But I also see arguments for everyone sucks here, therefore I agree with people that say that as well, and disagree with my judgment. But I'm going with not the a-hole. Do the Pingu says, everyone sucks here. She was intrusive, and you were quite harsh. I would have stopped at, please don't name our babies. We are going to name them ourselves. Yeah, definitely everyone sucks here. Just because she's played nice for all these months doesn't give her the right to finally snap. The aunt wasn't receiving any feedback on her actions, so she assumed what she was doing was okay. She had multiple opportunities to correct the behavior appropriately, but didn't act on them. The aunt shouldn't have pushed it so much, obviously because she was stepping over the line, but OP needed to correct it sooner. This. Avoiding dealing with a problem doesn't give you the green light to say hurtful things when you finally snap. Letting something slide the first time it comes up is fine, but you have to deal with it once it becomes an issue, and the more you ignore it, the worse it will be. A simple, those are lovely names, but we want to use something that has meaning for us, with a follow-up of, we haven't changed our minds, we will be using our own names, if needed, would have been far better. Leaving it to the point where Aunt has deluded herself into believing you'll use the names, and you've lost the plot while having to talk her down from a far worse place, is always going to end badly. Everyone sucks here. Amara Undone says, everyone sucks here. I was going to go with no one being an a-hole until I saw what you said to her. Pregnancy hormones aren't an excuse for saying things that are frankly cruel. You've carried 3 healthy pregnancies to term, you have no idea how she feels or what she's going through. Instead of politely yet firmly telling her you don't want to use the names because they aren't your taste, and/or it would make you uncomfortable to do so, you took a bit of a cruel shot at her. However, it sounds like she could use the help of a professional therapist, which would be infinitely more helpful than someone telling her, these aren't your dead sons reborn. Dreddy Fair says, not the a-hole. You're right. She was projecting on your unborn children, and that can move quickly into unhealthy. Sometimes you just have to put and say things to get people to stand down, otherwise they will just keep doing it. Alyssa Hargreaves says, not the a-hole. I get she's grieving again because triplets and all, but that doesn't give her the right to try to treat them as do-overs. Suggesting names is fine, offering the names are fine, but when you're basically demanding that the parents use them, it's over the line. She's implied heavily that you agreed and you haven't. Yes, you were a little harsh, but honestly, I don't see her getting the point any other way until they're born, and she sees the announcement, and then it blows up even larger because she convinced herself that you were using the names. And if you can't even tell people the origin of names, then you shouldn't be forced to use them. And those names though, Samwise is at least passable? Still in shock over here that this woman expected another person to name her kid after Drizzt Do'Urden. Good fantasy name, horrible name for a real person. G'day there guys, and that's the end of today's episode. I do hope you enjoyed it and were entertained by today's bloody good content. As always, I want to do a quick shout out and a thank you to all my channel members and Patreon subscribers. Your beautiful faces and names will be up on screen right now. Haven't forgot about you guys, sorry I was taking a little break there. So yeah, if you see yourself, give yourself a pat on the back. If you want to be on this screen, there's links down to the description below where you can sign up and help support the channel and all future projects that I'm going to be doing on this one. With all that said, I hope you guys have an amazing day, night, sleep, whatever you're up to. I'll see you in the next episode, and I do hope you enjoy it. Thank you.